this acquisition is a powder printer. And my first impression was not that great. It is much smaller than I expected. And the shelves that come with it, I was, pretty excited. It came with its own 3 kiln shelves, but they are about half the thickness or a third of the thickness of a standard kiln shelf. But I did give it a try because I had been working with stencils when I was trying to make these snowflakes, and I ended up having to do it 3 times because using a stencil, it's very difficult to lift it without it sprinkling all over the place. When I did it with the powder printer, the first time was fine and I was able to pop it in the kiln. So let me go take those out and we'll take a look, see what the finished product looks like. Back, these are perfectly gorgeous. It didn't fall over. Now let's see if I can get them off here and what they look like on the front. Oh yeah, the wafers come up just fine. Oh, how cool is that? They're very, very thin and delicate. There's a little tiny bit, but I can quickly get that off just using my finger. Yeah, that made the job of getting these little pieces so much easier. Wow, look at that. It just pops right off. They're delicate, so you have to be careful with them, but it's extremely easy to clean them up. And any part that went over, you can just pop right off. So yeah, not exactly what I thought it was going to be when I bought it. Really glad I did. And so my plan is to create little trinket dishes. So we'll take this piece of clear with white and then a green stripe, and then I will decorate with these holly leaves and the berries, which you actually could get berries. I left out one of the trays. I'm actually going to put them on with frit balls. That is beautiful. And I think I like the smaller leaf, so I'm going to make another set of these holly leaves and fuse them over top of this base. And where there should be berries, I'm going to use frit balls. Since I need more of the little ones, I think I'm going to run another set and I can show you how it's done. Super, super easy. Put your treated shelf in the base, and then you have these pieces numbered 1, 2, and 3. You'll notice 2 I didn't use. So I started with 1, and I don't, like, these are not necessarily the right greens for this. Doesn't matter. You take these little points, slide them in the points, and then whatever color you want for the vein, that's what you're going to sprinkle in first. And I think what I did, I know the basic leaf was emerald. I'm not sure right now what I used for the vein, so let me see what I've got out around here. What I used was aventurine green for the vein, and then it was emerald green. That was sort of the darkest green I had. It's not really what I would want for holly, but it's the closest I had. And then I think this time I may actually make some berries, because the leaf I want is still going to be separate. So I need my little sifter, scoop up some powder, and you go back and forth and put light layers in here. I'm trying to center it. It doesn't actually matter. As long as you don't move the shelf, everything's going to line up perfectly. So starting out with my aventurine green. And just go light layers. And you want it to be slightly under the edge of the template. So you don't want to fill it all the way to the top. You don't want it to potentially fall over, and just keep going back and forth so that you have a nice coverage and the right depth. You can very easily scoop up and reuse the powder. You just lift straight up, tap, 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 and look at those beautiful little veins. Collect your powder. Like I said, this time I think I'm actually going to put the holly berries in. I didn't last time. So then you go with number 2. Number 2 is the holly berry. You poke it in the little holes and gently lower it into place. And then you go back with your red. And I'm just using plain red. And same thing. You're just gonna go layers, you know, gently go over it. You're building up the powder, not in one big layer, but in a bunch of little layers. And then you've got a place for a little extra berries over here. I didn't do it the first time because I wanted more texture. And so I was gonna use frit balls. We'll see how this turns out. It may be better. And I'm not gonna put as much as I put last time. I don't think. We'll see. Now this one was a little messier. Maybe I should have pushed down, because see, there's a little bit of powder that went over. So I'm gonna have to go back with a brush and clean that up. Well, it's very hard to clean up with my little brush. So I might just fire it the way it is and see how easy it is to clean up afterward. And so the next layer is the holly leaves. So let's see if I put these in and then push down. So I don't have space. For the powder to slip under. Doesn't really, looks like I still am gonna have a little space for the powder to slip under. Let's give it a try. It didn't seem to do that when I had just the 2 colors, but with the 3, it seems to be giving me space. And so then the final is gonna be the emerald green of the holly leaves. And the same back and forth, giving it light layers. This is the second time I'm using it, and the first time I think turned out a little bit better. I think possibly it's when you're using 3 of these plates, there's a little bit more room for error. Not sure. Like I said, it's my only the second time I'm using it. So we'll fire this and see how they turn out. I do have to say, overall, these stencils, which are much thicker, much heavier plastic, are super easy to use compared to the mixed media stencils that I had used for the snowflakes. These were much harder to lift off than these. These were super, super easy to lift off, and with the little points holding it to the base, it really lifts beautifully. So if for that alone, I am happy with the purchase. I'm going to put a Tech to base on the back of these so everything will stay in place nicely. I'll have a 2-layer. Put the holly leaves on it when I have the right ones completed. And then I will probably full fuse these 2 layers and then tack fuse the holly leaves on. And And it's just to make some quick holiday gifts, because my holiday season is going to be a little bit crazy this year. The more I can get done ahead of time, the better off I'll be. Cleaning these up is super, super easy. You just have to be careful because they're delicate. But I've just got my plain file. I do have a rounded file that I don't know where it is right now. So I'm using a square. Actually, a triangle. Super, super easy to get off the little bits that went over. And it absolutely would be easier with the correct file, but it's not hard with this one. See, the little bits pop right off. But I can feel in my fingertips that this is very delicate, and if I were to push too hard, it would definitely snap. So just with a super light touch. They have a tool to help you do this, which I did not invest in because if I needed something, I could certainly put something together myself. But most of them are pretty clean and don't need to touch up. The ones that do, it's super, super easy. Look at that, just pop right off. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. They don't really have a lot of templates right now. But they did have a couple for Christmas, a couple for Halloween. The ones I got were ones I thought would make really nice trinket dishes. So I have the holly berries. This is a 3-part. And then the bats, I believe 1 part. But I thought how cute to do like a little black and orange trinket dish, orange with a little black stripe and some bats on it. I thought that would be great. Sea Life, I think, is another 3-parter. And that is just fantastic. And then this was the one that came with the kit. This was your test, which I might use the leaves. Who knows? I'll probably use it all. So far, I'm really happy with it. I'm not sure how it's going to fire onto the plate, but I'll let you know. So here's the second tray. Turned out just fine. Not really thrilled about the color of the berries, so I'm definitely going to go over them with red frit balls. I fired the bases at a full fuse. Let's take a quick peek because it's still too warm. Lovely, lovely. Okay, final step is to take one of these bases and attach the holly leaves and holly berries. And I think I'm gonna go with the aventurine green instead of whatever that green is. And then we'll throw it in the gem can. So let's give it a try. Let's see, I think I need the red frit balls. Hold on a second. I'm going to attach some of these holly leaves, the wafers, and then I'm going to run it in for tack fuse. Okay, because this is going in as a tack, I'm going to put a couple other things that are also going in for tack fuse. It is in the kiln. Alrighty, and this is done. It's still a little hot, but let's take a look. Okay. I like the way the tray turned out, but clearly, based on this one with the snowman, my clear powder did not melt in. Well, we'll give it another try. Let's see if that's a little bit better. Oh my goodness, yes. Isn't that beautiful? I am really thrilled with this powder printer. The holly leaves look a little light because I used transparent powder. This is just a test. If I were doing it to make a final piece, I would use opaque powder. But it's beautiful, easy to do, and would replace water jet cut shapes, which I love, but they're really pricey. I found with this set, I put too much powder, so I have more to clean, but it's just as easy. I just cannot get over how beautiful these are. You have the advantage of something like a water jet cut, but they're less expensive to make, and you end up with the ability to make pieces that have multiple colors. Fantastic.